Students of success, Dr. Mike here. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between committed and interested. So I want you to really think about this concept. Being committed versus being interested. And I want you to think about things in your life where you might be able to take in some examples. So there's a difference between interest and commitment, obviously. When you're interested in something, you will do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to doing something, you will accept no excuses, only results. It's a quote by Ken Blanchard. So can you think of things in your life that you are interested in and things that you are committed in? The three major areas: health, career, and relationships. And we're going to get into that in this chapter in the book. Think about something in your life that you wanted to do, but once you got to that point, you didn't have the commitment. Most people have commitment to absolutely nothing in those three areas. Take, for example, I've really wanted to learn to play the guitar. I thought that would be cool. It'd be a great outlet for me. I have some creativity and drawing and things like that. And I like to sit around at night with my wife and we sing and do things. I like country music. So I thought if I had a guitar, well, my wife got me a guitar for my birthday, a pretty nice one. I sat down with it and I didn't realize how hard it actually was. And with all of my jobs and my other commitments, I really didn't have time to be committed to it. So that's when I realized that I had a high level of interest, but not commitment. And it taught me something, that you can't be good in every single thing that you do. If you try to do too many things and you don't commit to certain 2, 3, 4 things in your life, you will just be in that average, mediocre range, which is also known as being like a dabbler. Do you dabble in things or do you excel in certain things? There are very few people that can do 10, 15 things at an excellent level. There's just not enough time in the day. There's not enough mental power. So we're going to go into that over the course of these next 10 minutes. We're going to be talking about your career in this segment. So what are some traits associated with committed employees? Okay. Their commitment means you're all in, even if you don't know how to achieve the goal. You don't wait until you know everything to be able to start. You don't wait till you know everything about health before you start doing some push-ups. You don't wait until you know everything about your career before you start going to conferences or taking courses. You get stuck in this paralysis by analysis. You've got to take action, because a lot of things, I've talked about this in other videos, you don't wait till you feel good about doing something. You go and do it, and then you end up you feel good. So your relationships as well in that. All in. They take action with deep resourcefulness. So if they get in a spot where they don't know, they'll find out. You can't have it. Successful people don't have it all figured out, and then they start. They go as far as they can see, and then when they get there, they can see further. So think about that. Some people try to, and maybe you've done the same thing. You've tried to plan out the next 5 years, and you've got it all. How do you know what's going to be coming across the plate? Not only 5 years from now, but tomorrow. You've got to be able to be resourceful in the moment. Take action. Your plans are going to change. You're not going to quit. You're going to be committed. But sometimes, instead of going through that wall, you might have to go around it. You might have to go over it. You might have to go under it. Have beliefs, thoughts, and ideas that are congruent with the success of your goal. Think about things that are going to help you be successful. We talked also before in a video about your mindset and about frequency illusion. You have to be able to have a focus on what you want, on your commitment, to be able to see those things, those beliefs, those thoughts, those ideas. Because if you're thinking about negative beliefs, negative thoughts, and ideas that aren't going to help you, you're just going to stay in that interested mode. Let go of the need of approval and validation from others. This is something that is very hard for some people to do, because we are looking for that validation from, say, our loved ones, from society, from our mentors, from things like that. You've got to get to the point. Committed people know that they are going to be laughed at, they're going to be ridiculed, because people that aren't doing these things, that aren't committed, don't understand what you're doing. So if you want to start getting into something, people are going to be like, why are you doing that? Especially, let's say you're starting on your health journey and you want to be completely committed to it. Well, the people that you typically, the 5 people you typically hang around with, probably aren't committed to their health, if that's something you're picking, or because it would make you feel too uncomfortable hanging around with those type of people. So you picked a group that made you feel okay. You do that in your career, you do that in your health, you do that in your relationships. If you're in your relationships, if you're not very committed and you're just kind of interested in the partner that you're with, or you talk a lot about people, you're going to hang around with those people because they make you feel good. So that's your group. So if all of a sudden you say, you know what, I'm going to be committed to my health. I'm going to be committed to what I eat, committed to what I drink, committed to the exercise program, committed to getting up early, doing all these things. Well, those 5 people that you hang around with, they're going to start ridiculing you. They're going to start talking behind your back. Stop. If you're looking for a need from approval to these people, you're not going to get it. So don't allow them to take you off your committed track. Invest fully in achieving the goal. You've got to go all in. It's just like this course right now. How committed are you to actually doing the 30-day challenge? How committed are you? Everything that I do here is absolutely free. The book, the download is free. The course is free. The videos are free. You can email me for free. So at that point, there is absolutely no excuse that you can give for not being 100% committed to your goals, to your health goals, to your career goals, and to your relationship goals. You have to invest fully. Invest in coaching. Invest in whatever it is, because any investment you make on yourself, especially in personal development, in your health development, in your career development, your relationship, will pay dividends down the road. It will also help you from having major regrets. Focus on the positive outcomes of achieving the goal. Think about how you're going to feel whenever this dream comes true. Because you're going to have to go through a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of times when you just want to quit. So you have to focus on the achievement, on how you're going to feel at the end. If you ask most successful people, how did you get there? Would you have, if you knew all the pain and the suffering and the hard work you had to go through to get to that point, would you do it again? And the answer more than likely is going to be no, because they didn't focus on that. When I was going through my doctoral degree, if anybody would have told me the amount of pain and stress and sweat and tears that I would go through to write my dissertation, I probably wouldn't have started it in the first place. But I focused on having that doctoral degree meant more to me than anything in life. And it wasn't about showing the world, it was about showing myself. It was about that commitment and that I've achieved something. So focus on the positive outcomes of it, because you're going to need those when you're going through your tough times, your commitment. Align goals and the values and priorities, which create limitless energy. What are your values? What are your standards? We'll talk about that in another video. Are your standards, is one of your standards commitment, that you commit to things? Is it communication? Is it discipline? Is it integrity? Is it honesty? Is it in making a difference? When you align these values with your goals, it helps you stay committed. Are you willing to get uncomfortable and take actions, although it might be scary, to achieve your goals? Let's just take your health, for instance. It's going to be very uncomfortable If you commit to getting up at 5 a.m. every morning, listening to at least 30 minutes to an hour of positive stuff, doing your 10 sets of however many reps of push-ups, doing your sit-ups, drinking that gallon of water, reading a book every single day, some part of it. Doing these things are going to be very uncomfortable, but they are going to be necessary to achieving your goal. So you have to be committed to doing them, even though it is going to be extremely, extremely painful. So how do we know if we're committed or interested? The easiest way to know is to wait for a hard time to come in. You go out to dinner. You think you're totally committed to your health. All of a sudden it's raining outside. Do you say, well, I'm going to get on my treadmill? Am I going to do it in the house? Am I going to go out in the rain? Or am I just going to be like, well, tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow because the weather isn't right today. If you miss one day, you're more likely to miss multiple days and end up giving up. So your commitment will come when you go out to dinner and your friends are there and all of a sudden you see this dessert and are you able to turn that away, or are you able to say, well, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do extra tomorrow? That's interest. That's interest in something. Commitment is no matter what, I will do it. Because when you are interested in something, you say, well, I should do it. It's not a must. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. When you start saying, I should not eat that. I should do better. I should do this. Then you end up shoulding all over yourself. Okay? It's not until it becomes a must. So your challenge, discover the why. What you'll need to do to be able to be committed to something, you're going to have to know why you are doing it. So list out one goal in your health, in your career, in your relationships. Okay? Under each goal, you're going to want to answer these questions. Why do I want it? What is your why? Because if your why is not big enough, the how will not come. Whenever the why, and the why might not even have to be about you specifically. Maybe the why for you to get healthy is because you want to be around for your kids. You want to be around for your grandkids. Maybe your why is that you want to set an example for your kids, for your business, for the people you're around. Same thing in your career. Why is achieving something in your career so important? Well, maybe it's so you can feed your family, keep a roof over their house. Your relationships. Why do you want a relationship? Because it's fulfilling, because you don't want to be lonely, because you want to share your life with somebody. Because I can tell you, there's nothing worse than achieving all of your health goals, all of your career goals, having all the money, all the possessions, all those things that you think you wanted, and not being able to share it with anybody. Not having that significant other, not having kids, not having friends. The why comes down, I just talked about it, the should versus the must. Whenever you say, well, I should do this, or I should do that, and think about it in your health. We all know what to do. We all know that going to Dairy Queen or going to McDonald's and eating junk food and chips and all those things are going to be bad for our health. We know that. Nobody has to tell us that. We know that walking every day, working out, doing these types of things are good for us. But we don't do it because the why is not big enough. We know we should do it, but we don't. Until things become a must. And when do things typically become a must? If we just take health, for instance. When we go to the doctors and they say, your arteries are clogged 90%. And you're like, oh, well, I should have worked out. Now it's become a must. In your job, whenever you get fired from your job because you weren't doing the things that you needed to do, when you know you should have been doing these things, and you go in and they're like, sorry, we're downsizing and you're gone. Well, now it's become a must to be able to find a new job, to be able to increase your skills, to do these types of things. Same thing in your relationship. Whenever your significant other comes to you and say, I want a divorce, I don't, or your friends, we don't want to hang around with you anymore. And you say, well, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have made more time, but you didn't. And now it's become a must. So instead of waiting until that time, whenever it's too late, make your health a must before you get that diagnosis of a clogged artery, before you get that diagnosis of diabetes, before you try to do something with your family and you can't walk a quarter of a mile to keep up with your kids, or you can't do something, or you're so overweight that you can't get on a ride at a park. Make it a must now. In your career, make it a must that you go to conferences, that you do extra things, that you do extra certifications, that you keep up, that you're into networking. Those have to be musts. Same thing in your relationship, making special time for that person that you love, making time for your kids, making time for your friends. It's a must. I must do these things. Whenever you think of those musts, the whys will become very relevant. Whom do you have to become to attain this? Who will you become? Think of that person. And there was an assignment that we had that's in the course there, and it's hero versus loser. The hero part is the person. We design it on who we have to come in our health, our career, and relationships. That ultimate person, we have to design who that person is. Who do we want to become? Because whenever we find out who we want to become, then we'll be able to get behind it and get committed to those things. But if we never decide on who we want to become, then we're not going to be able to do it. In the same instance there, just on who we become, we've also, as part of that challenge, we have to decide who we do not want to become. What is going to be complete failure? And most of the times people say, set a goal and decide on what you want to be and then focus on it. I like to be able to say, let's focus, let's also have the negative, because there's no light without dark. We can't just say, turn our head and pretend like something doesn't exist. So you also need to say, who do I become if I do nothing? What does that person look like that gets that diagnosis of clogged arteries, diabetes, all these health-related things? The one that gets, what are all the things that they did? What made them, what are the choices that they made? What were the things that they were interested in but never were committed that got them to that point? And then finally, what will life look like when you've reached that goal? And that's what we talk about in that assignment as well. What will life look like when you completely commit everything to your health? What will life look like? How will it feel when you've achieved that goal? And remember, health, career, relationships, there's no ultimate, like, oh, I've achieved this and I stop. Life is rented. It's like we're paying rent every single day on our health. You don't just get to a certain point and say, yeah, I made it. And no, it's a continuous commitment day after day after day to be able to maintain where you're at. Same thing in your career. You can't just say, I got the job. Okay, celebration. No, the hard work begins once you get that job. It's maintaining it and growing. And the same thing with your relationship. You don't just go and get yourself a boyfriend or girlfriend or get married and say, okay, I did it, I'm married. Well, if you don't think that being in relationships is work and it's a commitment, then you're crazy. Then you're just interested. I'm interested in being married. I'm interested in having a relationship. I'm interested. Trust me, those things will be gone very quick if you are not committed to a person, committed to that relationship. You won't be around long unless you're committed to your health, you're committed to your career. Because if the why is not big enough, your excuses will be. So think about that. If you don't know why you want to be committed to something, then you'll just make excuses. You'll say, well, I wasn't really interested in that. Because I can tell you, though, from experience and from, I turned 50. I'm 50 years old now. So I was like, well, I don't have a whole, you start to see the mortality in things. You start to say, well, I don't want to, in 30 years from now, say, man, I wished I would have done that in my health. I wished I would have done that in my career. I wished I would have done that in my relationship. And you're laying there with all these regrets. We have the other assignment there at the beginning, kind of the thing that you go through there to create your deathbed regrets. And I know some of the things are very dark, but we can't have that light if we don't go in. So are you one of those kind of people that are 50 pounds overweight? Are you going to be someday? Are you going to say, boy, you're laying there and you have these massive regrets because you're 55 years old and you're sick and you're dying because you didn't take care of your health. Same thing with your career. If you go into work every day and bitch and moan and complain all the time and you wonder why nobody wants to be around you, you wonder why you've stuck at the same position in your career since the day you were there for 20 years. You've never got a promotion. You've never moved up. You've never got a raise. You've never done anything. You didn't commit to it. I mean, obviously the interest is there. Everybody's interested in, are you interested in making more money? I bet you are. But are you committed to doing what it takes to make more money? We're interested in getting that beach body to be able to go to the beach, to be able to feel confident about ourselves. We're interested in that. Everybody's interested in better health. But are you committed to doing what it takes daily to get there? We're all interested in having a great relationship, a great marriage, a great family, great friendships, all these things. We're all interested in that. Nobody can deny we're interested in that. But are you committed to doing the things? And sometimes to have great relationships is ending some. There are some relationships that are toxic. There are some career choices that we make are toxic. There are some things with our health that even we're trying some crazy stuff that's toxic, that we have to say enough is enough to get to that point. So what I'm saying is here at the end, and if anything, that it goes the best with this presentation here for this chapter in the book, is that there are only so many tomorrows. We do not know when the end will be here, when the end for our health will be here, our career, our relationships. We don't know when we're going to get that diagnosis. We don't know when our boss is going to call us into the office and we're like, you know what, your time here is done. We don't know when our relationships, when that person's maybe going to pass away and not be with us or leave us. So there's only so many tomorrows. We don't know. We have choices in everything in our lives except for that one. We cannot choose when our days. We can be committed to try to do our best, but we cannot decide on when our last tomorrow is. So with that, just to say it again, there are only so many tomorrows. Go out and live a committed life and enjoy the best life possible. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you in the next video.